of the so-called special bodies, and that is one of the Republica 7160 or the Local Government Code of 1991. It's all about the creation of local special bodies, and one of which is one of them, the local school board. And based on that provision, that there are only 8 representatives or representations that include the mayor or the governor or the local chief executive. We have also the committee chairperson on education, the schools division superintendent, the treasurer, just like in the city of Baguio, the city treasurer, the federasyon ng mga kabataan sa isang lugar, kagaya po ng liga ng mga sangguniang kabataan. We have also the representative from the teaching personnel, and also the non-teaching personnel in the 8 is one than your PTA. Kaya pag titignan po natin, mga kasama, ay doon lang po sa PTA ang possible na may representation and private. And as we all know, that for us to advance in the wide road of development as one country, that there must be a partnership between the private and the public sector. So what we did in the city of Baguio, and that is something that I'll be sharing to you today, is coming up with a legislative measure apart from the local school board that we have introduced. Tayo po mismo, ang offer nito is all about the creation of Baguio City Education Coordinating Council in a way that we were able to increase the number of representation or members from 8, from the local school board 8, going up to 13 or even more than 13, because we have indicated therein that apart from the regular members, that we have also top service partners. So that will be the center of my presentation in this time. So the ordinance number 95 series of 19 or series of 2021. Yeah? Do we have the operator of our system? We have the leader here. The title is all about the ordinance creating the Baguio City Education Coordinating Council, defining its functions and appropriating funds thereof. This is not simply a duplication, but this is an enhancement. This is what we think is for us to further improve the quality of education by involving various sectors, especially coming from the private sector. So, the policy and principle says here, Baguio City Education Coordinating Council strives to establish a formidable education coordinating body to ensure better delivery of education services in the city of Baguio. Coordination among education bodies and other essential partner institutions show the results of more harmonious policies, up-to-date standards, and aligned educational outcomes. So since it is a coordinating body, in a way that it involves not only just the basic education, but it involves our partners from the Commission on Higher Education. It involves our partners from the Technical Education Skills Development Authority, and even it includes those who are in the private sector. Later, that we, or I shall be presenting to you the composition of this coordinating body. To continue, we have the following functions, or the so-called overall package. Number one, to take the lead in coordinating with the various education stakeholders. When we speak about education stakeholders, again, it includes private sector, just like organization of private school administrators. I used to be the president of the Baguio Association of Technical Vocational or Private Technical Vocational Institutions in the city of Baguio for 8 years. And here we are represented so that the city government of Baguio would know the concerns of our school heads coming from the private sector, representing also the concerns of our students, particularly from the private sector. Another one, mandate, it says there to develop systems or pathways of collaboration among education stakeholders through the system, quality assurance in the delivery of education services within the city is on check and assured. Basically, that there is a need for us to come up with quality assurance, and that will be one of the tasks of the coordinating council. Because basically, we have Department of Education mandates of this body. Another one to gather, collect, review, and evaluate suggestions and recommendations from various education stakeholders. The data can be utilized as basis for possible introduction of education-related measures. And one of the roles of this education body or coordinating body is to conduct regular public consultation that involves the Association of Private Schools to include also PTA parents or even our students. We do conduct the so-called Education Summit, not only once a year, but actually it is almost 4 times a year, meaning quarterly, so that we'll see that there is a roadmap for better education and delivery of quality education intended for our students. Another one, to come up with a system of measuring the collective success rate of the education services in the city of Baguio. So there is a need for us to know the collective success rate of the education sector in the city of Baguio. That includes public and private schools. By the way, just to give you a little bit of numbers, in the city of Baguio, there are 128 barangays. And based on the 2020 CPH or Census for Population and Housing, a number of 366,000 is the total population of city of Baguio. And we have 68 public schools, while we have 93 private schools in the basic education. 20 vocational and alternative learning schools, 22 institutions in the higher education from both private and public. But actually, out of the 22, only 2 are public schools, that is UP Baguio and the Cordillera School of Technical Education, formerly known as Baguio City School of Arts and Trade. And there are more or less 110,000 students in the city of Baguio from basic to the advanced education. In fact, that for the advanced, meaning for college students, that 85% are coming from outside the city of Baguio. Baguio City is known as the center of education of the north, not only of the number of students coming in, but the quality of our graduates. And that's the main reason why there is a need for us to come up with a measuring system so that we know what interventions that we need to implement to further improve or enhance the quality and delivery of education system or services in the city of Baguio. And to continue to concomitantly serve as the city's education quality assurance team, asked to review and assess the state of education services for the past 3 years as basis for coming up with tailor-fit and more strategic and responsive education programs for the city of Baguio. As we all know that meaning in our country that our education system is too much centralized. We rely much on the orders coming from the central office. But we do believe that for us to be able to improve the quality of our education, that we need to come up with legislative measures so that it would allow our education sector to come up with what is attuned based on the culture and values of people in that particular area. Why? Because one of our agenda in the city of Baguio is the so-called responsive education program. How could it be responsive if that education program is simply based in the central office? Probably the concern in Metro Manila is not exactly the same with our concern in the city of Baguio. And that's why we need to come up with this kind of measure to give us a little bit of autonomy to come up with, again, tailor-fit measure intended based on the culture and values of our students and learners. Another one, to do local policy recommendation centered on enhancing the city's education-related services that will further strengthen the hold of the city of Mines as the center of quality of education of the North. So, we are a partner of the Sangguniang Panlungsod of the city of Baguio. The Baguio City Education Coordinating Council will come up with measures then recommended for adoption by the Sangguniang Panlungsod. In fact, isa po sa mga katatapos lang po namin na ordinansa, ito po yung institutionalizing Baguio Teachers Day and also institutionalizing awards for teachers from the private and public schools, putting fund in it by coming up with selection committee or selection group. Yan po. Another one, to spearhead capacity building programs involving education stakeholders that promote synergy, harmony, and seamless cooperation geared towards vibrant Baguio as an educational center. That's the main or primary purpose why we do conduct the so-called educators convergence or public consultation, so that apart from getting suggestions from the stakeholders that we usually call the collaborative programs, so that as one, we are all aware that the best way for us to advance our city is to what done through quality education. Another one, to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod legislative measures for possible adoption covering concerning the education sector. And the last one, as one of the overall mandates, is to represent the education sector in the so-called Development Council or CDC. At napaka-importante po ito because we all know that the policy making body in the region is the Regional Development Council. In the city, of course, the City Development Council. It involves also identification of different projects that shall be implemented in the city. We make sure that the education sector is well represented in this policy-making body through the so-called City Development Council. Now, we go to the composition. Again, this is on top of the established local school board as being mandated by the local government code. The composition of the council, the mayor as the chairman, the co-chairperson is the chairperson on the Sangguniang Panlungsod on education. The vice chairperson, we put here one vice chairperson for basic education, okay? And then also vice chairperson for technical vocational education, vice chairperson for higher education. And preferably, they should be coming from the private private sector. It says here, members, isang-kunyan panglunsod Liga ng mga Kabataan, Head of the National Youth Commission in the City of Baguio, City Planning and Development Coordinator, representative from the city's School Governing Council, this could be from the private sector, also the Baguio Federation of PTA, and then 2 representatives from the basic education, both public and private schools, 2 representatives from the textbook institutions in the city of Baguio, and 2 representatives from the higher education institutions in the city of Baguio. So again, from 8 original members from the local school board, that we increase it up to 13. But as Wayne mentioned, apart from the regular members, that we have the so-called partners of the Baguio City Education Coordinating Council, like partner from the Professional Regulations Commission, the Civil Service Commission, the Department of Labor and Employment, industry sector. As you all know that we have PESA in the city of Baguio, we need to involve them. We have also Human Resource Management sector, and this is being represented by the People Management Association of the Philippines coming from the private sector, and City Character Council as being headed by coming from by the religious sector. Yeah? So that's the composition of the Baguio City Education Coordinating Council. And apart from this ordinance, since nabigyan po tayo ng chance to share some of the programs of our city of Baguio, we have also other ordinances related to education. Forward natin ang slide. Okay, ito po an ordinance declaring the first Friday of October of every year as official Teachers' Day in the city of Baguio, in a way that is actually not working day. We encourage that administrators can still give their salary during that day, institutionalizing the Outstanding Teachers Awards and appropriating funds thereof. As we all know, that we have Republic Act declaring October 5 of every year as Teachers' Day. But what we did is to localize it. What we did is to come up with a budgetary requirement, kasi wala po namang budget na nakalagay doon sa batas. And that's why we need to come up with allocation, so that it could be really a productive celebration and memorable celebration on the part of our teachers. And this includes non-teaching personnel. As Ben mentioned, it covers those who are coming from the private institutions or private schools. Abanti lang po tayo natin. In sincere condition of the essential role of teachers in the dedication and commitment in nurturing and educating the children, youth, and learner adults, the first Friday of October of each year is hereby declared as a special non-working day for all school personnel in all learning institutions within the city of Baguio in celebration of the Teachers' Day. Okay? Yan lang po, school administrators are encouraged but not required, but of course they are encouraged to still provide a regular daily rate, not rated, of the school person to put more meaning to the recognition there. Another one, the city government and Baguio Farm adopts the policy the selection of outstanding teacher as provided for in Section 5 and 6 beyond in recognition of the professional services, dedication, commitment, and guidance to develop the students to obtain their preferred education and their contribution to the city as the center of education of the North. To further present some of the provisions, next one, okay, we have the so-called selection committee to give recognition, commendation, and awards to qualified teachers through the selection and awarding of outstanding teachers in the city of Baguio. Further, length of service, exemplary achievements, outstanding performance, and the like. More, to provide venue for teachers to participate in the city-related activities for the celebration of the National Teachers Month. So what are these activities for teachers? Number one, wellness program for teachers, and that is being funded by the City of Baguio. Number two, it's all about capability building for teachers, and this is actually being spread out for the whole month from September 5 to October 5 of each year. It includes also assistance, legal assistance to teachers, and including financial literacy or proficiency training for teachers and more. To encourage and support the teachers' initiated activities related to the profession's rights and welfare, be it from the private or public schools. Allow the teachers and the students to conduct activities that will make them feel the importance of the role in nurturing and preparing them to be responsible and active citizens of the city. That's why I'm happy, because according to Dr. Adalen, that not only public or high school administrators are welcome here, but they do welcome also teachers or even PTA members. Okay? Any other activities that will help in the professional development inside and outside the education institutions. Please forward. At yan po ang ating mga so-called composition of the selection process. And it says here, okay, teachers, representative, one each from public and private school. Okay. Move on. Okay, just move forward or keep forward, so that we go to the other legislative measures which we would like to share with you in today's event. Other related city ordinances and resolutions. First, establishing and declaring every second Sunday of September of every year as a Students' Day in the city of Baguio, and allocating funds for its celebration. Why September? Because it is the celebration of Baguio Month. So it is calendared as under the program of the Baguio Month celebration. Baguio Students' Day. Again, so that programs will materialize, we need to put allocation on it. And that is coming from the city government of Baguio. Students involved, those who are coming from the private sector. Why is it that we need to involve those who are in the private sector? We would like them to be part of the equation. When we speak about joining with our students, we need to involve students coming from the private sector as we involve those who are from the public institutions. Another one, an ordinance providing for the government of Baguio College Education Financial Assistance Grant Program with students providing funds thereof and for other purposes. Initially, that we have put 10 million as budget for this, and we are in the process of doubling the amount to make it 20 million again, not only for the school in public schools, but more so in the private learning institutions, college division. Paano naman ang mga nasa baba po? Yan, nasa basic education. We have here an ordinance institutionalizing the Gawad Linga program in the city of Baguio for public elementary students and providing funds thereof. Well, we try to include the private sector, but according to the accounting rules, that the money from the government would not simply be given to private, but we are in the process of having meeting with DBM, the Department of Budget and Management, so that we could be able to address the request coming from the private sector as far as this ordinance is concerned. Another one, this is earnestly encouraging the Department of Education, Division of Baguio City to consider hiring para teachers. This was actually during the pandemic. Okay? Giving higher preference to those retrenched or laid off personnel due to the adverse effect of COVID-19 from private schools, it was an important graduates of education in the implementation of the so-called blended learning system, and also to give preference to those who volunteered during the pandemic. It shall be credited as part of their employment portfolio. Isa rin po yan sa mga na ipasa ng ating committee as for us to be able to assist and help our teachers. Especially, again, not only in the public schools, but in the private institutions. Now, basically, that is the end of our presentation. Let me end my presentation by following the statement. It says here, the world is underachieving today. Not because of the uneducated, but because of the people who claim that they are educated and intelligent, but do nothing about it. Ang mundo ay hindi masyadong umaabante sa ngayon. Hindi dahil po sa mga kulang pinag-aralan at hindi nakapagtapos ng kanilang pag-aaral, kundi dahil po sa mga nagsasabi na sila ay magagaling at edukado, pero para lamang sa kanilang pansariling kawalan. I'd like to express my profound gratitude to you, our teachers, to you, our administrators, to you, owners of this school, the officers of Councilr, for making a difference. That pandemic was again a test of character. And you know that because of that pandemic that we are now prepared to move forward, especially that we have this goal of becoming or creating a country that is resilient in smart city. The city government of Baguio, the national government of the Philippines, or our country shall never be the same without you, our dear FAPSA members and administrators, including your officers. On behalf of the people of the city of Baguio, I'd like to say, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Mabuhay po tayo lahat. Mabuhay ang okay, maraming salamat. Nag-uulat. Bago nyo nilabas. Kami ko rin. Magtantanan. Kita pa'y buhay. Salamat. Sa inyong liderato. An exact dedication of a leader that walks the talk. And if I may ask Dr. Vladimir to hand our token of appreciation. And also the officers, can you please join Dr. Ray on stage as we give, okay? Yan. So, please officers, request kay Dr. Ray to join. Yan. Come on, please, para, yan, rush. Yan. Very good. So, nakita niyo naman ang komposisyon ng ating mga officers, the way they move. Very dynamic. Very agile. Yan. Okay, thank you very much, Councilr Vladimir, Cayabas, for